All right, Congressman Byron Donalds joins us now. And, sir, it's good to have you back on again. So the Democrats got obliterated in November, and the new plan is to vilify the genius who has been brought in to expose the tremendous waste and fraud in government. I feel like this is a terrible idea if you're trying to get back the American voter.
It is a terrible idea, but the Democrats really don't have any other options. The reason they're upset is because Elon Musk is now scrutinizing the very Leviathan, the very same bureaucratic state that has been unelected, that has been unaccountable, which has really been the secret sauce, the holy grail for the Democrat Party. This is where they've put all their pet projects. It's where they put all their special interest spending. It's where they put the resources behind their ideology that just doesn't get promoted in the United States, but gets promoted around the globe. And so they're upset because now the bureaucracy is being examined. They have no problems if you want to go talk about other nations, if you want to talk about these other issues that typically happen in politics. But when they get scrutinized, now you see what they truly care about, and that is the fourth estate, the fourth branch of government that is not in our Constitution, the bureaucracy. So they're going to do everything they can to protect it, but it's not going to matter.
I mean, and honestly, it's when you talk about what the voters want to see, I mean, there's nobody that pays their taxes that thinks that the government is doing a good job at spending the money. And we all watch, and we all think about, we see that gross amount that we get before the government takes their share, and you think about what kind of life you could have if you just got that amount, and you give this huge percentage to the government, and we know they waste so much of it, and it's so satisfying, I think, for people to see the government finally getting a much-needed cavity search. But Elon he's arrived at the IRS, so now they're going to audit the IRS. Is there anything more satisfying than that thought?
Listen, if this is the only thing that gets accomplished, it'll be mission accomplished for Donald Trump and for his team. Because for far too long, the IRS has had no problem peering into the books of every American, rich or poor, middle-income American. It didn't matter. They love doing this stuff. But it's time for them to be held accountable, to make sure that everything that they're paying for is fully accounted for. I think that's a wonderful thing. And let's be very clear to the Democrats who are all concerned about the bureaucratic state. Elon Musk is going over to the Department of Defense as well. President Trump has a mission, and that is to make sure that our government is efficient and that it gets out of the way of the American people so our country can be great again. And so we're going to examine everything. Unlike the Democrats, we're not going to pick and choose what gets the spotlight. Everything's going to be examined. Everything's going to be addressed. And it's to the betterment of the American people. Because if we have an efficient government that spends less money, that helps every American when it comes to price stability and being able to borrow money in the future.
A great example of just how disillusioned I think the party is right now, the Democrat Party is. Take a listen to Hakeem Jeffries on Wednesday after the inflation numbers came out.
Last year, Republicans repeatedly promised to lower the high cost of living in the United States of America. Yet they have failed to do a single thing to lower housing costs, lower grocery costs, lower insurance costs, lower child care costs, lower utility costs. They have not done a single thing to drive down the high cost of living in the United States of America. In fact, inflation is going up under this administration.
Inflation is going up under this administration. That was the January inflation report. Joe Biden was the president in January for the bulk of the month. And they expect, and what they thought that Trump being in for the last 10 days is supposed to just plummet this issue. Unbelievable how phony that is.
Hey, listen, it is unbelievable, but to quote a former president, I believe he was the 44th president, we have inherited a very terrible situation from the previous administration. The inflation crisis created by Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, by the way, Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, who were just talking about inflation, that is their fault. They're the ones that unleashed massive federal spending when it didn't need to be that way. They're the ones that created a labor shortage. And so rest assured, Donald Trump's economic plan is going to stabilize prices and lower them.
You know, everybody's reporting the same stories, the same spin. You turn the channel, it's always the same. But not us. We're different. We report the real news, no spin, just the facts. Turn to us, and you won't turn back.
Tune in to Rob Schmitt tonight on Newsmax.